What's up, players and liberty lovers alike? Welcome to the inaugural edition of the League of Liberty podcast, a show that is exclusively for the paid supporters of four of the best Liberty podcasts ever, if I do say so myself, which I do. Starting with my show, Lions of Liberty, which I host along with Brian McWilliams and Johnny Odermatt. For those of you not aware or who are aware of the show and just don't care, of course, I'm not alone in this League of Liberty. I have some super duper Liberty podcast hosts along for the ride, starting with, I hadn't even thought of who I'm going to start with, so why don't I just start with Johnny Adams of the Johnny Rocket Launchpad.
Hey, it's Johnny, and it's an honor to be here with such amazing podcasters. And I am with the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, and I'm also with my co-host Kurt Nelson, Heather Nixon, and we're out there to rock and roll, drink beer, and swear a lot, and talk about liberty.
That sounds like a great life. Are they there with you?
No.
You're like, I'm here with them. They're sitting right, we're all huddled around this mic together.
No, they're like in the other room crying because they didn't get invited.
Suckers. All right, and I think I heard the little mocking laughter there of Chris Spangle, the host of We Are Libertarians. Welcome to the first League of Liberty, Chris.
What is up, fellas? It's so nice to join you after a year of talking about this. It's we've been going back and forth about this. And gosh, it was we all started talking, like a year and a half ago, because we're all in the same place as we grow our podcast. I host We Are Libertarians with Greg Lenz, and now Kat Anagnos and Harry Price are co-hosts as well. And we just added our second episode, added a Patreon feed, starting to grow. And it's been an exciting couple years here, and watching and working with you guys and watching our stuff grow too.
Indeed, and we'll dig a little bit more into our origin story of the League of Liberty as soon as I bring in our last man here. He's not the last man. He just happens to be last in my order here. He's bringing up the rear, as always. I don't know what that means. Roger Paxton of the Lava Flow podcast. What's going on?
Hey, Roger's an ass man. Roger's an
an ass man.
Last but definitely not least, fellas. It's great to be here. Like Chris said, we've been talking about doing this for way too long. I'm glad we're finally all together doing this. It's going to be an amazing trip for everybody listening. But I'm Roger Paxton with the Lava Flow podcast, also with the Resist the Empire podcast that I do with a co-host of mine, Brian McQuaid. It's a libertarian view of the Star Wars universe. If you're into Star Wars and libertarianism, that's the one for you. Also the Free Coast Freecast. And I've got a new one coming out in the next few days called Essential Libertarianism, select readings from voluntarius.com. Make sure to check that one out. It's going to be really cool.
Shit, man. You got a lot going on. We all do. Let's be honest.
There's still two others I didn't mention, but I'll mention them later.
You just didn't want to brag all the spotlight right up front. Right. Gotta leave
I'm not actually hosting the other two. I've got other hosts doing those. So
Roger's like, let me take my dick out. Oh, there we go. You know.
Oh, but I'm not going to keep it out. I'm going to put it back. I just wanted you guys to see it, have an idea of what's going on there.
Just a tip.
I'll roll out another 2 inches later.
But if you play your cards right, it just might come out. So, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt this is going to quickly, and by that I mean already has turned into a shit show. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most about this, because every Facebook chat we have turns into a shit show. Every time we hop on together, it all turns into just a fun shit fest. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Of course.
Yeah. We're not into scat or anything, but like.
No, that's Kat and Agnes. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my co-host, she does Scat Cat. Yeah, I guess let's talk about where we started. I've known Roger forever. I've known Roger for 4 or 5, 6 years at this point.
God, was it? It was in Cincinnati or wherever the LSLA meeting was. Gosh, 2011. Columbus. Yeah.
Yeah, and
what
you were
is
in
the LSLA?
You were in
a Libertarian State Leadership Alliance.
And Roger was in Arkansas at that point.
Yep, Arkansas chair.
And I was the executive director of the Libertarian Party of Indiana, and I had not yet started the podcast, but in May of 2012, we started We Are Libertarians, and we've done it ever since. And I started podcasting. Roger was an early listener, and you've said that we were part of the inspiration for you starting Lava Flow.
Well, yeah, because I mean, We Are Libertarians sucked so bad, I needed to do something better.
It's not inaccurate. I mean, that's part of the free market, is that when you don't hear your need being filled, then you start your own need, and that Roger just has a wildly different show than what I do, which is one of the reasons I promote him, because I need more purity. And Roger's our purity.
Well, it's better than being unpure, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, and then Mark came along, and I started seeing Lions of Liberty pop up everywhere. And so I don't remember the specific reason I reached out. Maybe, Mark, you asked me
Saw
to
the
be
hair,
on.
got jealous,
Yeah.
wanted to know my secrets.
It's the main,
Exactly.
isn't it? It's a main.
It's the main, exactly.
So he and I started talking, and I did an interview on his show. He did one on my show, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard this Johnny Rocket guy?"
I don't
He has
remember.
this
I don't remember
podcast."
being on your show.
Yeah, you've been on the show.
Well, you've replayed the interviews that I've done. Yeah,
Well, maybe that's
I haven't separately been on the show uniquely. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Well,
I'm not sad about that. That's just not the kind of show you guys.
I will
do.
say I've been.
If I'll have to fly to Indiana to be on your show proper.
I've been on a co-host on We Are Libertarians twice now by Skype,
Oh.
and then I did a remote one from
interesting.
PorkFest last year specifically
Oh,
for We
isn't
Are
that
Libertarians.
nice?
So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
some
I'm
of us are more special than others.
now that we're doing 2 shows a week, I'm running out of co-hosts, so I'll be calling on you and Johnny a lot, and Roger.
Well, Chris and I are fairly new in our Liberty relationship here, whereas we haven't been dating for like 8 years, like you two.
Right.
Liberty dating.
So
you know what?
term, right?
And it
So he
actually
tells me
shows
about-
between you and Chris. I mean, Roger and Chris, man, you guys act like a married couple.
Oh.
Honestly, you guys fight more than me and Heather.
He's the bane of my fucking.
Who's the breadwinner?
But who's the bitch?
Oh, wow.
Well, come on.
Oh, please.
I like how I can say come on and like no one has to know who I'm actually thinking about. I'm like, come on, guys, it's obvious. Anyway, moving along.
So he tells me, "Have you heard of this Johnny Rocket guy?" And I said, "No." And so I listened to Johnny's podcast, and it pissed me off.
He's like,
because-
you mean that like restaurant, that old like 50s diner
Right.
restaurant?
That was the first thing I
No,
thought. when
why would
first
I?
heard about it.
Is that guy's a libertarian? Like what?
and it pissed me off because it was so damn good. And I said to him, maybe
You're like,
Mark,
wow, he edits.
right? We should hook up with Johnny and start swapping ads on each other's websites.
Wow, swapping ads.
Yeah, and then I said, "Hey, why don't we bring
Not
in Roger?"
swapping
Because
wives. Yeah.
We're all
Get
all
there.
doing sort of the same thing. We're all independent podcasters. We don't have investors. We don't have fancy college degrees. We have built our audiences from scratch. Let's share resources, and thus the League of Liberty was born. So
I do have a fancy college degree for the
It
record.
was.
But it didn't get me anywhere where I was. I mean, really, I do professionally. I work with people who have no degree compared to mine, and we do the exact same thing. And obviously, I learned all this on my own. Had nothing to do with my degree. So, I mean,
what's your degree in?
communications.
Oh, that's not
Sounds
real.
I guess it does have
That's
something
pretty
to do with my
close.
degree.
You know what, Mark? It's pretty
Well, I
close.
sure didn't do podcasting.
Well, mine is
It is pretty close.
audio.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Fuck.
My degree is I have an associate's in IT, but the job I'm doing is actually a job that requires a master's generally. But I'm doing it anyway, so to hell with it.
I dropped out.
Yeah. Well, why is anybody surprised by that?
You guys.
And look at us. We're all happy, healthy, and alive with
We are.
various
Yeah.
levels of formal education.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but you know what's cool is when I talked to you, Mark, I said, hey, how about the Liberty League? And we were thinking like that Justice League kind of like, hey, why don't we
Totally.
get an all-star cast and get us all out there and start
and
talking?
then we settled for Chris and Roger.
No, we didn't. No, those guys are handpicked, man. We have like we got some really cool cats here, man.
Tom Woods was like, "That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Please do not call me anymore.
My only issue is
I do a serious show, sir."
my only issue is that the initials of League of Liberty is the same as Lions of Liberty, and
Oh, I really hadn't noticed that.
yeah,
That's
you had
interesting.
noticed that by ass.
Should we one of the real reasons that this kind of got started was being libertarian. Should we talk about that and the decision that decided not to make? Should we throw them under the bus?
Hey, that's an interesting point. But actually, it's League of Liberty Alliance.
I don't know.
Wait, Chris.
I
It's
don't.
League
I'm
of
not
Liberty.
against any of the guys there. I mean, we just decided to sort of, huddle together.
Right.
There was never really there was just chatter. We were in talks with those guys about. I mean, look, they're doing huge. They're doing awesome. Like, but I don't know. we never got to the point of a final detail is the point. And we had previously all gotten together and said, like, we want to stick together and sort of be a League of Liberty and, cross promote and just be sort of a team in the sense that as we build our own our own projects and our own podcasts and grow our own shows, we want to integrate as much as possible, because I think even though our shows have very different feels in many ways and in many ways similar feels, I think we're all sort of reaching out to the same kind of people in a sense, in a broad sense. The people that are interested in learning more about these ideas but are not really interested in the bread and butter kind of NPR style shows that might be out there. Like, I know Chris loves those guys, but the Cato podcast that are just basically like libertarian-ish NPR. I just can't. I personally don't like that kind of format. It's just too dry for me.
I agree.
So I think we're all trying to achieve something that's a little more spicier,
edgy.
So word of the day, edgier, spicier.
I do have one question for everybody. Since we are the League of Liberty podcasters, what are your superpowers?
Oh man,
mine.
Really should have thought about this one.
I'll go first. This is Chris Spangle. We are Libertarians, and my superpower is being a cunt.
Here. Truer words have never been
Dear
spoken.
leader.
I have been sent to the earth to irritate the comfortable.
So your superpower is so unique that nearly 50% of the population also has it.
Yeah.
What am I missing? We have a couple female subscribers, and they're all cool as shit, and do not freak out about non-PC humor, or they wouldn't be subscribed.
Right.
That's simple.
I'm Johnny.
We love you.
I'm Johnny
We love you
Adams,
all.
and I could drink everyone under the table.
Ooh, I don't know about that, Johnny.
Ooh,
Oh, I think I can, sir.
We'll definitely have to put that to the test one day.
Yeah, yes, we
this
can.
does sound like a challenge, and Chris can stay sober and judge the contest based on he'll have the best view of who is getting more fucked up than another.
Oh, I'll
No, if the four of us ever get together, we are definitely going to get Chris Spangle drunk one way or the other.
We should just drop acid together.
There you go.
Skip to the.
Let me just say
Let's
this,
just-
Roger. Prettier women than you have tried to get me drunk, so I don't think
Oh,
you're going to be able to do
damn.
it.
Oh man.
Have you ever had a drink, Chris?
I tasted alcohol at 15. It was a very small shot of vodka just to see what all the fuss was about. But I've never drank. I accidentally drank some communion wine once, and I thought it was grape juice, like at the Methodist church, but it was a Catholic wedding, and it was not grape juice. And I barely almost held it in, and I almost spit the blood of Christ back into the little jar there. So,
It sounds like you
take this blood back.
It sounds like you just described your sexual experiences too.
pretty much, yeah.
He spits. He doesn't swallow.
Right.
Now listen, if this is going to be you motherfuckers coming on here, bagging on me, I'm going to take my podcast and go home. Meanwhile, Roger has a beard that it looks like he walks around and smashes little villages.
So, Mark, what's your superpower, Mark?
What is my superpower? Okay, well, it's definitely based on much like Samson. I really feel strongly that people with long hair actually have superpowers. We're more in tune with the world. We're more in touch with humanity, with nature, with all these things. So I don't know what my power is. I have to think about it a little more. I do know if you cut my hair off, I'm going to lose it, though. But I think my power is to to live amongst socialists and absorb their socialism and shoot it back at them in the form of liberty. That's my superpower, because I live out here in Los Angeles.
That's pretty good.
Everywhere I go, whether it's where I work, whether it's the casual conversations at the bar, restaurants, the people sitting next to me, what I hear them saying, everywhere I go, it is literally the same damn things repeated over and over. We're not taxed enough. Californians have never met a tax. And here I am. Roger's just gonna say you should move to New Hampshire, idiot, and I can't really argue when I lay it out this way, because this is not a liberty-friendly atmosphere in many ways, even though there is quite a strong liberty contingent out in LA. A lot of people that are pretty active out here. But I think that is my superpower, to absorb all of this socialism and nonsense and just calmly, or not so calmly, depending on how many drinks I've had or the setting, spit it back at them in the form of fiery liberty. There you go.
Now, you know that there are only 2 states in the country that porn is not illegal to make, and that is California and New Hampshire. So
see, that's our one libertarian point.
Right. So you're in
film people having sex for money.
Yeah, you're in.
Wait, don't they shoot porn in Las Vegas?
Not
In
legally.
Arizona.
Really? Not legally?
Not from what I understand.
So are they like some serious libertarian rebels that are shooting these porn? I know there's like porn that's shot in Las Vegas.
Well, I mean, to be honest, there's no porn shot in New Hampshire, even though it is legal. It's pretty sad.
Why not, Roger? Get on this.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, nobody,
that's a business opportunity waiting to happen.
nobody wants to see that.
Your subscribers are waiting.
Libertas Adult Studios.
Yeah.
Come on.
The only person that wants to see that is
Pax
Chris.
Libertas Adult Studios.
Come on now.
I take a look.
Chris, I'd see it. It's like a chick with bad tits.
I'd see
You
it.
still want to see them.
Yeah.
You know, like regardless.
It's like you just need to see. You just need to know.
see them. Not because they're good looking.
It's not that you want to see them.
Right.
You just got to see them.
Yeah, that's about what I expected out of Roger. That's what I.
Hey, now, guys, I have lost 48 pounds since December, so I'm on a roll here. Give me a break.
dude.
I will give Roger a little applause there. That's impressive.
Down to 24 pounds in each tit.
Oh,
I think I'm up about 8 pounds in the last 2 months. That's the direction I'm going.
Yeah,
But
good for you.
I sprained my ankle, so like most of my like running is all gone.
oh.
And I do long walks with my dogs, but second I try to do more than a walk, I'm like, owie, and then I stop.
Am I the
So
only one
that's
with a
what- that's why I
family
have to
here?
go.
I mean, I think I'm the only one with kids, aren't I?
Yeah.
I have two huskies, and they're a lot of work, but human kids.
I
No, Johnny?
I have 2 kids, 2
Oh.
girls.
I had no idea.
there you go.
You never talk
And-
about it, Johnny. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
well, I have. Then I have Heather's kids too, and they come by every once in a while. So yeah, we hang out with them. So yeah, I'm a family man, believe it or not. I mean, I'm an asshole. But by the way, so I'm going to change the subject real quick. Let's get into something libertarian. What do you guys think?
What?
What do you think? What do you guys think of Nicholas Sarwark?
I thought we were just gonna tell stories and make weird, semi-gay remarks to each other for an hour.
That sounds. Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, if you want to do that, but what do
what
you
we've
guys?
been
What do
doing.
you guys think about the Libertarian Party, and what do you think of Nicholas Sarwark and his comments about Tom Woods?
So, Nick Sarwark, when he was first running for chair the first time, he asked me for an endorsement, and I didn't do it because, I didn't think that he would be good enough at the job. 2 years later, I endorsed him when he ran the second time because I thought he did a really good job. At this point, I will never endorse him for dog catcher at this point, because how in the world can you alienate half of the base of libertarians in the country by pulling that kind of shit and think that you're still doing good for the party that you're supposed to represent?
I'm with you on that, man. I mean, I think Nick did a really good job at the convention, but I'm totally with Tom Woods on this one. I mean, why fuck with the man? I mean, Tom Woods has become like one of my heroes, and this guy who no one even knows is going after him.
Well, it's not even that to me. To me, it's not even, okay, Tom Woods is better than Nick Sarwark from, that's not it for me.
But he's in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, my issue is that he's basically alienating not just the Tom Woods crowd, but the Cato crowd and all of these more right libertarians,
Right.
which is a big portion. Now, I'm not a right libertarian. I may lean a little more right than I do left, but I'm pretty central.
Right.
But even still, you don't want to alienate an entire branch of the people in our philosophy when there's only so few to begin with. Why would you do that if your job is to promote that party and grow that party?
I'm with you on that, man.
So I've known Nick.
No, I want to hear Chris
Yeah,
first.
Chris, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. So I've known Nick for a long time, and Nick is a friend, and he and I have regular conversations via Facebook Messenger. And that particular day, it was, "What the fuck are you thinking?"
Did you start that one?
No. He actually messaged me because I made a Facebook post about it, and I've never spoken to Tom Woods. I know Nick a lot better. I consider Nick a friend. I respect Tom Woods a ton. And
Hey, didn't you have to do an interview with Tom?
we
once?
did.
Am I making that up?
We did in 2013. Yeah, we were actually
Well, that's
like
speaking.
we were like episode 16 of the Tom Woods show. So that's our only claim to fame.
Right.
But Nick led the party in a very thoughtful and effective way through the 2016 campaign. And in terms of staff, the people that he is hiring for staff of the LNC and the national office are great people. He's hiring a lot of really good, competent people like Andy Burns, Jess Mears, and a few others. He's reorganized some of the older folks who had been there for a while, like Wes Benedict. And the office, I think, is more effective than it's been in a long time. And so I think he's been a good chairman, but he has this habit of going on Twitter or social media and being snarky Sarwark, and saying things that just don't do him any favors. And he stepped on the wrong landmine when and maybe he just didn't realize how big Tom Woods is in terms of shaping libertarian thought. And
Sure.
Tom Woods is at the top of an echo chamber, and when you shit on him, you're going to get a lot of echoes, and that's what happened. And Nick picked a fight with somebody that he can't fight with. And I just think that he was completely out of bounds. I don't think that any of the information that he tried to push after that, or that Wes Benedict tried to push, saying that, the Mises Institute and Tom Woods are alt-right, like, it's just not true. And Tom Woods had every right to bash him and go back at him and even be just as snarky, calling him a used car salesman.
Well,
so
and
it
even
was a really dumb fight to pick.
Sarwark even attacked Rothbard in some of those tweets. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
If you're going to attack somebody who's a libertarian, why would you pick somebody who was at the pinnacle of libertarianism? I mean, he wrote the book on it, for Christ's sake.
Because Rothbard was an asshole. That's why. Like, Sarwark's point is not without merit in that
This is gonna be fun.
Murray Rothbard's political efforts over a career, he was in a lot of different movements, and he was somebody who invested in a lot of different movements. He was on the original board of the National Review. He was in the LP. He was with Democratic Socialists. He was in the Republican Party. I mean, the guy was everywhere. He had a very consistent philosophy over time. He philosophically set the tone for a lot of the libertarian movement, but politically, he wasn't very effective in moving the ball forward in American politics. He was an American political philosophy for our movement, but he wasn't an effective tactician. And that was Nick's point.
I can agree with that.
Because Nick Sarwark is an effective statistician. Give me a break. Nick Sarwark he doesn't hold a candle to what Rothbard has done in this movement.
I agree.
He doesn't hold a candle to what Tom Woods has done in this movement. And for Nick Sarwark to attack either one of those shows that he's an incompetent ass who needs to just shut his fucking mouth and get the fuck off the stage.
Well, but
Thank
they're
you,
trying to do two completely different things. Nick Sarwark is trying to lead a political party, and Tom Woods is doing libertarian media. They're not. It's like comparing apples and oranges. You can't say that.
Well, one is culture and one is politics.
Exactly.
I believe culture, though, will succeed in the end. So if we change our culture, that's where people actually start reading books, start learning the ideas of liberty, and we will be successful. If we get these people interested in these ideas, we're not going to do it by winning elections, because all they're going to do is kowtow to these socialist ideas. This is all.
Trying to bring about libertarianism by winning elections is like trying to win a war for peace. I mean, it's not possible. Politics is not the way that this is going to happen. I agree with you 100%, Johnny. At this point, we're wasting our time. We're banging our head against the wall over and over again. I banged my head against the wall for almost a decade in Arkansas with the Libertarian Party there, trying to get something done. The most liberty I gave more people is I gave them more choices at the ballot. What good did that do anybody? Nobody at all. So, and then I moved to New Hampshire. I'm part of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire here. We have made some strides here, but it still hasn't brought anybody more liberty. I mean, we have 3 elected state representatives in New Hampshire, more than all the other states combined. One of them came over from the Democrats, 2 from the Republicans. So we've actually made some strides here. But again, what is it actually going to do for liberty? Nothing.
And you're right, Roger. And it's like trying to row a boat with a rope. Ain't going to happen. All right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that phrase.
And this is where we're at, because if we don't change the culture and we don't get people thinking about liberty the way we think, like, let's get rid of government completely. That's what me and Roger would want. But like what I'm saying is, let's start getting rid of it.
Why are you leaving me out of this? Jeez, you're trying to call me. You're like calling me a subtle statist.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I heard that.
But I know that. I know that.
I heard
very
the thumbs
adamant.
under the bus. I heard him throw you right under the bus, Mark.
Funk. Who is that?
So I will say
Mark Claire. Funk.
I think
What
that
is happening?
I think that you guys are partially right. I will tell you that doing this podcast over the course of 5.5 years, I've created and helped move more people to libertarianism because I'm in their ears in a passive way as they're driving to work or taking a shower or mowing the lawn than I did in 4 years at the Libertarian Party of Indiana, being the executive director and spending more time of my personal time trying to recruit and run candidates. But I will say that there are people have this political energy that they want to expend, and I don't think that there's any shame, and we certainly should not shame people who want to go and pursue a political option in the Republican or the Libertarian parties, because it does reach some people. Like, there are people who are reached through the political operations. There's people who are reached through our podcasts. There's people who are reached through television, like John Stossel. And the world is not so cookie cutter, and you can't say that this one path is the right path, because it doesn't work like that. So I'm always in favor of people doing whatever they feel their gifts incline them to do. For me, it's to spout off in a podcast. That's my gift. Building a platform is what I'm good at. And so that's how I have applied my gifts to the libertarian movement. Not everybody can do what I can do.
And I don't disagree with you, Chris, because I came to libertarianism from the Libertarian Party as well. I was a Liberty Republican, was fed up with the Republicans, and got to libertarianism through the political process. I'm not saying that it's not effective for that. Their educational methods, what they do to make new libertarians, sure, I like that. But to think that we are going to ever make change through the political process is just ridiculous. It's never going to happen. As long as we have a first-past-the-post type of election system, we're always going to have two strong parties, and it's never going to be the Libertarian Party, period.
Well, yeah, we're never going to vote for liberty and then get it.
Right.
Like, that's not, right. It's not going to be a nationwide referendum where we're like, should we have it or not? And then everyone's going to vote yes, and then we're like, oh, finally,
Mark,
got it.
What do you think, man? I mean, what's your opinion on this whole thing? You didn't answer. I think you're being sly about it.
I think he is.
He got all quiet and shit.
Let's see.
I think
got all quiet.
I think Nick Sarwark is a patron of Lions of Liberty.
He's the one listed as the unknown libertarian.
Right.
Why is that one guy not even having a real name? What the fuck? No, I mean, I gotta say, like, my only interactions with Nick are 2 podcast interviews and no other communication at all. Like, except like he posted the interviews or whatever. So I only know him from that context. Seems like a nice guy. Seems reasonable when I talk to him, even if I don't disagree every word. Like, I don't think seems like a maniac. And then I go see him on Twitter, and he seems like a maniac. I actually like a lot of like his snark. Like, I like snark in general, I mean. And I like a lot of the stuff he says and does outside of this incident that we're talking about right now. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, it's kind of douchey, but kind of funny,
sure.
And I'm okay with it.
The drink your tears. I mean, that was a brilliant comment. That. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Stuff like that.
Right. I mean,
I love
attacking statists. Absolutely. He nails it. But then when he tries to start attacking libertarians, that's where I draw the line. And I've known Nick.
And I'm with you.
I've known Nick since St. Louis in 2010 at the LP convention there. I've known him for a long time, and I like Nick as a person. He's a great guy. We had him to Arkansas for one of our state conventions. He's a great guy, but man, he was just off the wall wrong on this one.
Yeah, I think when you turn the guns inward, that's when we start having an issue with it.
It's perfectly fine to criticize Murray Rothbard's political strategy. Like, I have some agreements with some of the criticisms of his views, not his views, but of his reaching out to the David Duke types, the Southern strategy that he put out. I don't think that's a good strategy. But like, trying to lump everyone into Rothbard's one idea of strategy once in the early 90s. I mean, he also had strategies where he joined progressive parties at socialist parties to try to, like, be a contrarian libertarian there. I mean, right. He had a lot of different strategies over the course of his very long life.
I think that and
that's just one of them.
I think we can all agree that Rothbard's paleo libertarian phase was misguided, without a doubt. Totally. But we're talking about the chairman of the Libertarian Party, the National Libertarian Party, and we're talking Bob Barr, Wayne Allen Root, Gary Johnson, and Bob and Bob Barr. I mean, fucking Bill Weld, for Christ's sake.
Bill Weld. Yeah,
I mean, who in the hell is Nick Sarwark, the chairman of that party, to call out Rothbard for his political strategy?
Right, but I mean, even I mean, I agree with that too. But even as far as Rothbard goes, that trying to what Nick has been doing that really annoys the shit out of me is he takes takes Rothbard's Southern strategy, then tries to lump that in and expand that to Tom Woods and Dave Smith and
Jeff Dice,
and then connect them both with Chris Cantwell just because he's been on their shows and act like this all adds up to a whole bunch of racists that are all populating the Mises Institute and any of their fan bases, and that is such fucking nonsense that I don't get why he even thinks this is a good idea. I really don't understand at all.
The Mises Institute is awesome. I mean, really, if you want a pure economic version of the libertarian message, that is the Mises Institute.
lavaflow.com.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, I think coming from the LP and spending a lot of time in the LP, there is a sense, and there has always been a tension between Mises and the LP, especially during the Ron Paul years, because there was such an attitude towards the Libertarian Party that they just shouldn't run anybody against Ron Paul, that they should, that they're a waste of time. And all of that stems from Rothbard basically walking out after, there was a split in the Libertarian Party after the Koch brothers. One of them ran for vice president in 1980, and then after that, there was a split between Cato and the Koch brothers versus Rothbard and the Mises Institute in the Libertarian Party, and Rothbard ended up leaving. And so there's been bad blood ever since then. And that attitude that I have where let's respect everybody's efforts for libertarianism comes from the time when I had so many Misesian people railing against me for doing what I thought was right and having this smug sense of superiority about being outside of the political system. And I read Rothbard, and it's just like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I don't care what you do or don't do. Just don't shit on my work. Don't call my volunteers and tell them to drop out. Like, you're just being negative assholes.
Sure.
Yeah,
well, I get you on that.
And then I'll throw to you, Johnny. But Nick is reacting and probably carrying a lot of that. It's not fair to lay the failures of the past at Nick, but you also need to learn some lessons. Like, I think Wayne Allen Root is a great lesson and somebody that I learned a lot from in terms of not being a party official and trying to be a media figure at the same time, because it's never going to work out for you. Wayne Allen Root tried to be a talk show host and do political commentary while being on the LNC, and it just didn't work out.
And while being a neocon, it's a lot.
Right.
A lot to
well,
juggle.
He's an opportunist.
To juggle.
But my point is, Nick can't be a political commentator while at the same time trying to represent a broad faction of all libertarians when there's 6 or 7 or 8 different strains of libertarianism that are active in the United States today.
I agree.
So I think he's got to figure out what his strategy is going to be. But I also think that his hostility towards Mises and the keeper of the torch and Tom Woods and Jeff Deist, I don't know how you say his name, like
Jeff Dice.
Yeah, like I think that there's some bad blood that goes back a lot longer than any of us have even been a part of, and that he's reacting to and trying to defend from, as well as a little bit of saying like, hey,
Sarwark was not, I got to disagree. Sarwark was not trying to defend from anything. He went on the attack. He did not try to defend. He attacked, period. And there was no reason for it.
Well, I think
as the chairman of the party, you should really want to you would want everybody that's kind of in the libertarian-ish circle at least kind of being interested in the party, whereas this is, going to make people, or maybe it's having the opposite effect.
This is
maybe
division.
Some people are going to, there's that Mises Caucus,
division. Yeah. This is division. This is straight up division. And it's like, we don't want the Mises Caucus. We don't want the Radical Caucus. And I've seen a bunch.
Does he say that? He doesn't. As far as I know, he's never said anything like that.
But this is what's going on. What I've been reading is like the Libertarian Party is trying to sue people with the caucuses and all this other bullshit that's going on now.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know either. I don't know the whole story. but
I really don't know what you're referencing. Suing caucuses? What am I missing?
Yeah, because they're using the Libertarian Party's name. And apparently the LNC, this could be a rumor. It's all speculation, third-hand shit. But they're saying that if you are using the Libertarian Party name in your caucus, then it's associated with the Libertarian Party, and we can sue you for using the Libertarian Party name with your caucus, with the Mises Caucus, the Radical Caucus. and especially I guess it's being kind of aimed at the Mises and the Radical Caucus. So I think that's bullshit. I mean, like, regardless of whether or not that's true or not.
Well, hey, I just pulled up an article from 3 days ago talking about what you're referring to. I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs here. The Libertarian Party is going to attempt to sue caucuses that have the words Libertarian Party in the name next year if it's not voted down by the delegates at the convention. This would affect the two biggest caucuses in the party that also happen to be more philosophically based, the Radical Caucus and the Mises Caucus.
There you go.
And this is from actualanarchy.com. Now, this sounds like it's just, hey, I heard this from somebody kind of thing. There's no,
is there any sources?
There's no sources at all. But it's interesting.
So I'm already a little suspicious.
Yeah, I am too. Now, speaking of caucuses, though, what does everybody think of this new Libertarian Socialist Caucus?
Is that a real thing?
It is.
Isn't that I thought that was like a parody.
No,
It is not.
It's a real thing.
Mike Shipley is the head of it, and he is an absolute left loon radical. I don't even think the guy's a libertarian personally. I've known him for a few years. I know lots of people that know him. I don't think he's a libertarian personally, but this whole rent is theft bullshit, that is driving me insane. Give me
I thought that was a parody. I really did for the longest time. So you're saying
there is a parody page.
I'm so naive.
Yeah, there is a parody page out there, and that was on We Are Libertarians, and then I told our people to go make fun of them, and it turns out that it was one of our people trying to troll, and it was a fake page. But there is a large strain, and it's a lot of it is getting kicked up because of the Bernie movement. I had somebody in our group who's still there, and I have conversations with a lot of left libertarians that they're always like, hey, thanks for being nice to me, even though your friends ganged up on me. Is a conversation I had the other day. Somebody named Kaylee, and they believe that they don't believe in private property, and they believe that the workers should be able to, that essentially property, in the way that we understand property rights, the output of their labor is what they get to keep. So they don't believe in private ownership. They believe in I don't know what, but it's so it is coming out of the Bernie movement, and it has been around. It's called mutualism, and their argument is that, hey, if we want to work together and dwindle society down to little fiefdoms, and Roger has his little anarcho-capitalist coalition, and you have your little minarchist metropolis, and then over here we have our mutualist society, then what does it hurt anybody? And I can't disagree with that. Like, hey, if you want to form your own little commune and live freely and be communist, that's fine. I mean, but you're going to have to live.
I'm in the scope of libertarianism.
That is in the scope. In that
they have the right to do stupid ass shit as long as they don't make us do it.
That's right. But I guess the point of the fucking Libertarian Party should be to reduce the size of government or get rid of it. Right. So by enforcing that kind of, like, what they want to do is take over the government and create socialism. Right. That's what it sounds like to me, and that's what pisses me off. This is what they're doing. This is what they're trying to advocate, and a universal basic income and crap like that.
Yeah, don't even get me started. I mean, this whole rent is theft. I mean, I have rental.
Oh, you're started.
Well, explain that, Roger?
Oh, here we go.
Explain it, Roger.
So the rent is theft, from my understanding, is that if you are renting from somebody and then you stop paying, that they should have no right to kick you out of the property, because that could. But and another thing they throw around is how
many months do you have to pay before that kicks in? You just do 1 month and you're good.
I guess, but the thing that they
discretion.
But the thing they say is rent is murder, because or owning property is murder, because if you kick them out of the property, then they could die. Well, then they should pay for the fucking rent. I mean, I've got rental property here in New Hampshire. I've got 2 tenants living right now, and I'll tell you right now, if they stop paying, they're going to be on their fucking ass, because it's my property, and I am the one who's responsible for that property and having to pay for that property. It's not my fault that they refuse to pay. And the fact that they're saying that this is murder if I have them removed from my property that I own, it's ridiculous. It's a whole squatter thing.
I'm still having a problem thinking these people are real, but maybe I just really am this naive.
They are absolutely not. Check out Mike Shipley.
I mean, I've seen the pages. I've seen the people you're talking about. I guess I just really always assumed they were kind of trolling.
He is absolutely 100%.
Maybe not even trolling in the fact. Like, I don't necessarily think they're trolling even in the shit they're saying, but trolling in trying to like act like they're libertarians is part of it. Like, I think they're trolling the whole Libertarian Party by like trying to be like a part of it or act like they're a part of it. That's more what I mean.
So I have a question for everybody. Who all here is a member of their state Libertarian Party or the National Party?
I renewed my membership of the National Party for the second time in my life, the first time being last year. I was never a member before that, mostly because I want to go to the convention. I want the option of going to the convention and the option of deciding to become a delegate. And I was a member of the California Libertarian Party for 1 year. I emailed them twice and never got a response, so I let that lapse. That's my status.
Johnny?
Well, I was part of the Washington Libertarian Party for 2-3 years and national for about a year. And I am no longer part of the party.
I am the 7th district representative for the state central committee, so I am basically like the congressperson for the largest county in the state of Indiana on our state central committee, and I'm a national member too.
And I resigned my membership from the Libertarian National Party after Johnson and Weld were elected. I cut up my card and sent an email to Robert Krause over at the LP National and said, nope, no thank you. But I also resigned my lifetime membership to Libertarian Party of Arkansas over the same thing because they voted overwhelmingly for Johnson and Weld, and I refuse to be associated with anybody who would do that. I am a member of LP New Hampshire because they are one of the very few states who did not vote majority for Johnson or Weld. As a matter of fact, I think they only had 1 vote for Weld and 2 for Johnson or something like that. It was very, very low numbers out of 10 or 11 delegates. So I am a member here. And I am the vice chair of the state party, probably not for much longer because I have some other thing. I'm also on the board of directors for the Free State Project, and there's some conflict of interest there. So I'm probably going to end up resigning from the LPNH. As far as vice chair, I'll keep my membership probably.
So really quick, guys, why don't we talk about our new projects while we're all here before we wrap?
Oh, yeah. That was what we were going to do.
Yeah.
But this has been fun. This has been awesome.
Johnny,
It has been fun.
I can't wait to do more of these.
This is great. Well, guys, I've been doing the Liberty Force comic book. And
it is amazing for nobody who's had it yet.
It is kick-ass
awesome.
for real, man.
And there's a great ad in there for this podcast production network called Pax Libertas Productions, just saying.
Actually,
and after you get past that, if you go to the back page, there is a badass ad for this little Lions of Liberty podcast, too.
By the way, those ads turned out fantastic.
They did.
I love how that ad turned out because you did it yourself. So
I did.
Hey, Johnny,
kick-ass.
something seems to be missing.
One of these kids are doing his own thing.
No, somebody didn't even ask if he called and I said, I've friended a comic. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I get the comic. There's fucking Remzo Martinez. Okay, that little Remzo Martinez got an ad in the comic book. You called Remzo. I have a bone to pick with. Alex Merced's in here too. Who the hell is Alex Merced?
All your favorites.
At least Alex Merced's a libertarian.
Oh,
I know.
Hey, Chris, I tried to get you on there, man, and you're like, I don't know. I asked you.
You are drunk. You're lying.
I will next second issue, man. By the way, I'm working on the second issue right now, and it looks fucking awesome.
And there's the web comic.
Yeah, I'm working on the web comic too, so you can find all that. And dude, I've been just balls to the wall drawing this fucking thing, and
the question I keep hearing, Johnny, that everyone wants to know:
what?
When are we getting another Johnny Rocket Launchpad podcast?
I know. Guys, I am sorry. You know what happened, though, is Kurt is just been out of the loop, and he's been working, like, in Africa.
Throwing Kurt under the bus.
Yeah, no. I will, because it's fucking his fault, and I will do that on this show. Kurt has just been working really hard, man, and he has not had any time. But we have something scheduled, and we're actually going to do a radio drama for the comic book. And we have
nice.
And we have Jeff Dice narrating it.
Oh,
get out of here.
From the Mises Institute.
Oh, that's fucking badass.
That's
Is
awesome.
this the first time you've said that in quote? This isn't really public because it's only all our paid people.
This is public. Fuck it. We'll make it public. Nice. Yeah, Jeff Dice is going to do the narration for it. And we actually got Stapleton to be the bad guy. So he's going to be Major Holla.
Is that why he grew that goatee out?
That's right.
That weird mustache? Right. Is that all of it? It's all for that role?
Yeah. So we got Stapleton on there. And But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more.
I guess I must have missed the email where you asked me to, do one of the voices,
Right.
but I'll check my spam folder.
Well, actually,
Jason Stapleton, huh? Not me. Not Roger.
Well,
Not Mark. Jason.
I mean, look, I get so many comments.
I thought we were a fucking league, bro.
we are league. By the way, the League of Liberty is in the goddamn comic book, and you can find it.
And we are the baddest of asses.
That's right. And it's and you can find it at libertyforcecomic.com if anyone wants to know.
Yeah, and the artwork, if you guys haven't seen it, anybody who hasn't seen it, the artwork on this thing is amazing. The story is incredible too. But Johnny, you are singularly talented. That is beautiful, and I love it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
real,
I know.
dude.
I was like,
You're
Johnny,
kicking
who
ass.
did this for you? He was like, I did. And I'm like, you did
Who'd
this?
you hire to do this thing?
Right.
See, I was lucky. Johnny was sending me from page like 2. He was sending me every time he had a new page, and I was loving every minute of it. It was awesome
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, I got all
It
those
turned out
behind-the-scenes
nice.
stuff.
It turned
I
out
guess
nice.
Kristen-
By the way, guys, we have Alexander Meyer from the New Agorist Brewery, and also Liberty Menu, and he is doing the coloring for issue 2.
Cool.
Nice.
And he is fucking awesome. I mean, he's a great artist himself and a graphic designer, and he is just putting out some amazing pictures. Like, he'll take my lines and just make that shit fucking come off the page. It is so fucking cool.
How much do
Beautiful.
we got to pay him to make you blackface?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. I do it for free.
It all depends how many subscribers we all get.
Right.
Right.
But no, it's great, guys.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been doing. And yeah, we're coming back. The launch pad's not dead. We're coming back.
It's just taking a little nap.
It's
a
just
little-
a little nap.
pod fade.
That's right. But thank you guys. I appreciate the compliments. I really do. Thanks.
Yeah, man, you're killing it. Roger, you've been really doing some interesting stuff the past year or so too, especially since the time we all first had that first historic Facebook chat. You've really expanded your little Libertas operation, huh?
Yeah, I think I had 2 podcasts back when we first started talking. Now we have 4 on the network. Adding a 5th one this week, and then the 6th one probably in the next 2 weeks. The one that I just added this week, or that'll probably be hitting iTunes probably tomorrow, is called Essential Libertarianism. It's essentially what I'm doing is I picked up a book from the 80s, the early 80s, called Neither Bullets Nor Ballots. And it's basically this book written by Carl Watner, George H. Smith, Wendy McElroy, and it really just explains voluntarism in a way that just really resonated with me, because I've always considered myself a voluntarist, even though I've dabbled here and there in politics the last several years. So I really wanted to take some of the material from voluntarist.com, which is where this book comes from, and present that in a way that people could listen to it on the go and understand what voluntarism is truly all about. Non-political, 100% education, getting libertarianism out there. And so I got with Carl Watner, who is the head of voluntarist.com. He's been putting out a newsletter every month for, 30 years now. And he's allowing me to basically do this, taking the articles from there and turning it into an audio format. This is some solid gold material that is from people like John Taylor Gatto, George H. Smith, who I mentioned, a brilliant libertarian. And lots of great libertarians writing articles on here, just really explaining what voluntarism is all about. So definitely check that out. It should be out by the time this podcast episode is. The next podcast I've got coming out is called No Gods, No Masters. And it's being done by a couple of ladies in Mississippi. Aria DeMezio, who I met at PorkFest this past summer, and Katie, and I cannot remember her last name. She's
You had me a
probably
couple
gonna
of
kill me.
ladies because we need some
Right.
some female membership of the league eventually. I mean,
Right, absolutely. So they're going to be doing this podcast, No Gods, No Masters. They've done a kind of a test episode. It sounded really good. We're doing some more technical stuff to clean it up, and that'll probably be out in the next couple of weeks. Basically just talking about libertarianism from a female perspective, because they're females. So definitely check that one out as well. And that's really what I'm working on right now.
that's it.
Well, not to mention that my wife and I are the lead producers for PorkFest 15, which will be next summer. So definitely check out PorkFest.com. I want to get you guys out to PorkFest next year. Can you imagine?
It's in July,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Is that right?
It's in June.
And we could do like
June,
a
okay.
live
June is better
podcast at PorkFest.
for a week straight on mescaline.
Well, see,
sounds great.
So that's part of what I want to do is we used to have live podcasts on site as, during the week. We haven't had that the last couple of years. I want to bring that back. But I mean, just having the League of Liberty podcasters all there. I mean, holy crap. We could do a podcast panel for everybody. We could do so much stuff. So come on, guys.
And think of the groupies. Of the groupies.
Right.
I know, most of us are taken in one way or another, but still, think of the groupies.
Right. And the last thing I want to mention is the Free State Project. I'm on the board of directors for the Free State Project. Moved up here. Next month, it'll be 2 years since I've been here. The best thing I ever did for my family was getting the hell out of statist Arkansas and getting here where we're working on actually making changes. The things that we have passed just the last year politically, and I'm not even active politically, but concealed carry, cannabis decriminalization. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What we've been able to do up here. And when I say concealed carry, I mean a constitutional carry. And of course, we've had medical marijuana for a while. But it's not even about that. It's about the community of people that you deal with here. I know, Chris, you make fun of Keene and Liberty LARPers, but the Free State Project is not Keene. Keene is one little segment of the Free State Project. There's so many other areas. I live in the Free Coast area, which is an area of lots of families, lots of entrepreneurs, lots of educational type people. And we are just building out this community like nobody's business. If you really want to be around dozens and hundreds of libertarians, you've got to come to New Hampshire.
No, let me clarify. I make fun of any libertarian living in New Hampshire as a Liberty LARPer, not just the Keene people. And I do it just because I know how much it pisses you off, Roger.
No, it doesn't piss me off. It only pisses me off when you're wrong, which is most of the time.
And that was Greg. Greg came I would love to come to PorkFest. I'll never be able to get my co-host Greg to come out to PorkFest, but I would definitely come out and check it out.
Greg's not invited.
I'm more curious than
why isn't Greg invited?
Because Greg is an asshole. Okay. And make sure to tell him I said that too, Chris.
I will.
What is Greg not support you guys on Patreon? Will he not to get to hear this?
No, he never has. No, that's a good point. Greg has never ever once given me $1 for my show, and I used to be a supporter.
Even Spangle. I mean, this is available on all our feeds. Is he giving anyone $1?
No, trust me.
It's going to cost you $1, Lens.
No, he spends 10 hours a week at least studying for We Are Libertarians, so he puts in his time.
That's like I have Rico on my shows all the time, and he's like, "So how do I listen to this thing?" I'm like, yeah, you got to sign up for the Pride, man. I don't know.
Right.
If I hand Greg a microphone and go hook this up, he looks so lost. Like he's the brains when it comes to modern political policy. So I let him handle that stuff when I buy the pretty microphones.
Well, speaking of your Patreon, Spangle, why don't you dive into do I hear Johnny in the background? What something to say?
No, I'm good.
Oh, I thought I heard somebody.
Man, you broke his rhythm.
I hear voices in my head. All right, Spangle, what you got going on with WAL this year? Lots.
Yeah, we so I kind of have a long-term plan mapped out in my head, and then I do everything in kind of stages. And earlier this year, we really built out a lot of video stuff, and I basically built a podcast studio in my apartment, and we started putting videos up on YouTube, and that's been really successful. I mean, it's amazing the amount of people who listen to podcasts on YouTube. It's kind of crazy, honestly. I didn't expect that, but people do because of work firewalls. And then the next phase was to start monetizing a little bit because it was starting to cost me, you guys know this, it's a very expensive hobby. And over the bigger you get, the more expense you bring in. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I can't afford this. So last year we started soliciting for people to just pitch in and donate because there's no such thing as a free lunch. And over the course of this year, I've just felt kind of guilty because it's like, hey, I'm not giving, they're giving me $5 a month for the show, but I'm not giving them back anything in return. And I've watched you guys take the paywall idea and give people bonus content. And I'm like, well, I could do that. It's not much different. So we put up a Patreon about a month ago, and we're already up to $969 a month in Patreon subscriptions. And
a month.
It just is a test. A month, $969 a month. So,
I'm up to $5.27 a month.
That comes from Heather.
Yeah, that comes from Heather. So I can buy beer.
So and it's just a testament.
That's all you spend on beer?
Right.
It's called Milwaukee's Best, motherfucker.
Won't even get into his pot bill.
Right.
I don't even smoke pot.
That's
So
my bill,
it's just a testament to the co-host that I have, and we have about 20 people that participate in the show and have pitched in on this dream of mine, and we've, and they've made it their own dream, and it's just really cool to see a platform growing. And we need cash to grow the rate that I want to grow, because we do current events. We do a different show than like a Roger does, where and you guys kind of do this, but like I've never interviewed or talked to Larry Sharp, and I'm never really going to, because I just don't like. Libertarians know about Larry Sharp and care about Larry Sharp, but like I would rather ride the wave of current political events and try and capture as many new libertarians as possible, and then funnel them down to you guys to get the real indoctrination. And so we're first touch for a lot of new libertarians, and I want to build out a lot of cool tools like mobile apps and lead capturing, so we can start moving people closer, essentially up the world's smallest political quiz. And so I have basically said that to my audience, and they have responded in a really overwhelming way. I was completely dumbfounded. Like, I put up $500, we'd do a second show, and I thought, oh, well, we won't have to do that till like June or July of next year. And it was not even a day before we hit that. And we
That's
are
awesome.
Yeah, so we are doing a second show now. So we were doing one show a week on Thursday night, and the original format was 3 guys around a microphone talking about 3 or 4 current event stories and applying libertarian principles to those and giving news and analysis from the libertarian perspective. And over time, that has basically become one story and some comedy. And I wanted to add that second show back on the original format. So it's just Harry Price and I talking about 3 or 4 or 5 news stories. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of get back into that old groove, and the audience has responded well to it. So I'm glad that we're doing that. But it is, it's exciting times where a hobby starts to transition into a business. And now I can start taking that money and hiring some people and doing merchandise and doing mobile apps and other things that I want to do to kind of give the libertarian movement some tools to create some new libertarians. So very exciting times. And if you want to learn more, then hit us up at wearelibertarians.com.
Kick ass, Seabass.
Bam.
Yeah, and then I guess I'll wrap things up by talking about myself. But yeah, I mean, we did Lions of Liberty. I mean, I kind of started it over 3.5 years ago as, I don't know, hobby, I guess. But quickly after it becoming a hobby, I realized I didn't want to produce something shitty. And then I realized, because it was shitty in the beginning. You go listen to the first few episodes, it's shitty.
Right.
Like, the audio sucks. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I had good guests. I mean, that was key. I had Stefan Kinsella on my first episode. Like, I wanted to interview interesting people that at least had things to say about liberty and just ask them questions in ways that I wasn't getting. Because at the time that Lions of Liberty started, like, when I started, I think Tom Wood started his podcast literally like a month after me. Because when I started it, there was no libertarian podcast that I could find that like had just like interviews with people about the ideas. It just didn't exist. So I just decided to create it. But I quickly realized, like, I don't want to put something shitty out there. What's the point of that? And then when you put so much effort into something to make it better, then you're like, well, then it turns into a business idea the more you put effort into the hobby. And at some point it was just like, well, we should really make more of something out of this. So then I started to bring my friends into the fold, Brian McWilliams, John Odermatt. They were part of the creation of the LionsLiberty.com website, because it was originally just articles for the first couple of years, basically just Ron Paul fanboys, if I were to be honest. But that we've really grown, as people that have been fans of our show for a long time know. The show has evolved quite a bit, where we now do 3 days a week. I do interviews on Mondays as well as roundtables, very similar to the ones that we had today here. And then Brian has a show doing pop culture. His show debuted this year, so he's part of our expansion, to give him his own voice, and he's been doing a kick-ass job with that. And then John Odermatt for the last year and a half has been doing Felony Friday, which exclusively focuses on the criminal justice system. And I think really the best part of his show that never really occurred to me before he really got started is how many victims of the drug war that he's been able to talk to. These are not ideological libertarians that are coming on the show to talk about quote-unquote the ideas of liberty, but they're displaying the results of these bad ideas. They're human beings with real stories that were really truly injured by our current justice system, by the war on drugs, by the injustices that are inherent in having a legal system that is not based on individual rights. So I think he's been doing a killer job highlighting those stories, especially with a lot of people that have been granted clemency, at least under the Obama administration. I don't know how many drug clemencies we'll see under Donald Trump. My guess would be 0, but we'll see. And of course, we also at the same time launched the Lions of Liberty Pride. That's our group of paid supporters through our Podbean app, because that is our pod post from the beginning, and it was just they set up a system to do this, so it's just so simple to keep doing it through them. And other than Roger's criticisms before the show, I guess that he had some audio problems, so I'm going to look into that. And if anybody else has had audio problems in their feed, let me know. But generally, it has been a pretty easy way for us to deliver the content to the people that were already listening to it. So we're doing a lot of extra stuff like this League of Liberty, which is going to be available to anybody who is a paid supporter of any of our 4 shows. And that's what's cool about it. You don't need to subscribe to all our shows. You can. We encourage you. I do think that people that like any one of our programs and the content we're doing will really enjoy not only the regular content that all 4 of us are doing, but also the extra stuff that we're putting out there, because all of us do some form of a little extra content here and there for our listeners. And we've really tried to focus on that a lot. I try to get something up like once a week. Every time we do a roundtable, I do sort of an extra bonus segment with a guest, taking questions directly from listeners. We have the Conspiracy Corner, I know you guys are aware of, where we just do deep dives on conspiracy theories, and people are loving that stuff. So we really get into a lot of stuff that I wouldn't necessarily want to do in our main podcast feed, because I don't want to really closely associate libertarianism with conspiracies per se. I find a lot of conspiracies interesting, but they're not necessarily directly related to the ideas of liberty, and crossing those two things over too much, it might not be the best idea strategically for your Liberty podcast. But in the sort of the paid section, the behind the scenes, it's something that people have really liked. So they get to see another side of us. I think we let loose a little bit more. I think we let loose even on the main show, but I think as people listening to this show, we let loose even just at least a tad bit more when we're doing this kind of thing behind the paywalls, right, just for our paid people. So you get a little bit of that extra realness, even though I think all of us are pretty damn real as it is.
Yeah, the thing that I love about the 4 shows is that you get a complete look at a lot of different aspects of the libertarian movement. If you listen to our 4 shows, you get a complete education in a month. I mean, you get a ton of really cool content, and you get you get news and opinion from us. You get deep philosophy with news embedded in there too with Roger. You get interviews from newsmakers with Johnny and Mark. I mean, and you just get a really complete look at everything that is going on in the world, in the country, and in the libertarian movement with our 4 shows, which is why we cross-promote each other on every episode of our shows.
We do. And what's really great about our shows is that we all come from different cultures. I mean, if you could actually think of 4 diverse individuals who would probably never hang out with each other, it would be us.
Minus the fact that we're 4 white dudes, but yeah.
We are 4 white people. Roger's a little more tan than anyone. Okay,
he's
fine.
very sporty.
Right. But like what I'm saying is, like, Mark, you come from a different culture than I do. Chris does. Roger, we all come from different backgrounds, but we're all doing it differently. We all have our different shtick, and that's what I think is really cool about this, is that we have 4 people that would probably never hang out with each other due to our cultural differences,
Why do you hate us so much? I think I'd hang out with any of you guys. What am I?
What?
Well, sorry, Mark, I'm busy. I don't have time.
I think it's more that we probably wouldn't have met if we weren't all interested.
That's
in the
true.
Ideas of liberty.
Let's think about it. Like, you got greasers, you got mechanics, you got jocks, you got,
who's the jock?
I'm not. You, Mark.
Aren't you a surfer boy, Mark?
Have you seen me lately? No, everyone just thinks I am because of the hair.
Right.
I had never surfed. I don't surf at all.
He's a goddamn jock. But
right.
If I'm the jock, we are in trouble if we get into a gang fight.
For a libertarian, you're the jock, goddammit.
All right, I'll be the jock. I mean, I do DDP yoga. If that makes
he did 5 push-ups 5 years ago, so he's the jock. I mean, he is a libertarian. So
yeah, that's what I mean, dude. Like, I'm just trying.
I am the jock then.
Like, no, I would never. I have been to 3 concerts in my life, and I hate going to clubs. Johnny and I would never meet in a bar. Yeah,
you guys never would hang out.
Right. I don't. Go ahead, Johnny.
I don't like clubs. I go to bars, not clubs.
Right.
There's a difference.
I don't
I don't like either.
I go everywhere they serve alcohol.
Me too.
People's houses, bars, clubs, concerts.
So I take
all
that.
these
I take that
places.
back. Maybe Mark and I would be
7-Eleven.
Yeah, maybe. But like, but
Johnny and I would run into each other at the bar, and we'd be bullshitting for an hour before we realized that he was even Johnny Adams and I was Mark Claire.
that's right.
Wait a minute, the same. We just did that podcast, League of Liberty last. What?
Yeah.
That's how it would go down.
What's funny is more people have been drunk on our show than probably your guys' is on air because we always have a lot of beer, and then people come in here and they get nervous and they just start drinking the beer that's on the table, and it's Bell's Two Hearted, so it's pretty. And then like you'll look over at our college age co-host Kat, and she's just buzzed and like her eyelids start drooping. Like, so we're not anti-alcohol. I don't want you people to think that we're no fun because we're a lot of fun. Goddammit.
Everybody but you, Mr.
No, I'm no fun. I'm so boring. I this is the most fun I will have all week after.
But you can corral other fun people, so that's a skill.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I don't drink because I would be intolerable.
Well, like our first show had to be canceled because I got too fucked up because
And started saying racist shit, probably.
No, I know I'm not part of the Mises Institute. All right,
I'm joking. What are you, a Tom Woods listener? Jeez.
I must listen to Tom Woods. Hail Hydra, but like, no, but like,
Hail Hydra.
No, but I'm serious. Like our first show, it was fucked up, man. Like it was like 20 minutes in, I'm puking in the bathroom. Heather's like, okay, we're gonna cut this off. Episode 5, Kurt's throwing up. He's drunk off his ass. And so Heather banned vodka. From that moment on, no more vodka in the goddamn studio. Because, I mean, that's our fucking weakness is booze. So we had like a control.
And your power at once. It's a double entendre.
But hold on. But it was like an all-day thing, man. So like I came to the studio fucked up. And I'm thinking, yeah, I could do a great podcast when I'm this drunk. This is a great idea.
Does that audio exist anywhere?
It does.
Oh,
Dude.
you have got to release that, Johnny. Come on. I told him that.
At least release it to the Backstage Pass people,
I don't even know if it exists on one.
At least send it to the 3 of us. How about that?
Oh, sure.
We won't judge you.
Yeah.
I mean, we will, but
I promise I won't post it out there on the internet anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's bad.
Do you guys? I have audio that of somebody losing their mind and ranting on a podcast that would be personally destructive, so I can't release it. But God, do I want to release it and put it behind a paywall and make people pay for it? Do you guys have that kind of audio too, where it's just like,
oh yeah,
I wish I could.
We have one thing.
Yeah.
We have one thing we did.
Yeah.
What is it?
We have one segment that we it was basically we did the show aired. It was a Halloween show with it was our Mr. Johnson's Neighborhood when we did the Gary Johnson show like every 2 weeks or so during his campaign. And we did a Halloween episode where Brian and I played the parts of Bill Weld, and we had various cast members come on. And one of us did an impression of a certain ex-presidential candidate, Libertarian Party ex-presidential candidate, that upon listening to, we decided just was not in good taste. So we did not air that one portion. And I think I've said enough for now.
I was called the Nazi by a libertarian guy, kind of influential.
Jeff Smith?
No, not Jeff Smith. Fuck Jeff Smith. Fuck Jeff Smith.
Do you guys know about Jeff Smith?
Barry Hess. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was one of your guests. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He called me a fucking Nazi on the show. You're not.
Was he Nick Sarwark's neighbor?
Probably because I was part of the Mises Institute. Hail Hydra. So
wait, why did he call you a Nazi?
I don't know. Probably because I was swearing a lot. I don't know what the fuck I did to offend him. He's like,
well, the Nazi said, "Fuck,"
Yeah.
You must have been swearing in German or something.
I must have. I don't know. It was really uncomfortable. Heather looked at me and Kurt were like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, I don't know. You start calling me names like this dude's fucking crazy. So
the 3 of us, we all have scandalous audio. Roger, do you have any scandalous audio hidden in the archives?
I mean, I cuss a lot when I'm recording because I'm very meticulous about. Of course, I read mine. You
fuck up, you go fuck mother,
all the
fuck.
fucking
You
time,
stuff like that.
Do it live.
I can't tell you
That's
how
why
many
I can't
goddamn
record. I can't do solo shows. Like I respect people that do, because it's really hard for me. Like I can do conversations and that's fine, but solo, I fuck up a lot, and then I get really frustrated, and then it takes me so long to do a solo show.
The hard part for me though is I cuss on my show, even in the show. But then when I do Resist the Empire, we keep that one 100% clean, because, you know, it's about Star Wars and there's kids involved in Star Wars, and, you know, we're trying to reach out to a much broader audience. So that is so hard for me to stay clean in that show, because when I'm usually on the mic, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah. Just don't ever let your kids listen to me ever. All right. Just rule of thumb.
No, or to Brian, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not for kids.
No. I mean,
LALDL is often not for kids as well, but most of our other shows are okay.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't help it.
Well, my show's for the cool kids. I mean, you know, kids that are, you know, okay with cussing. I mean, my show's not bad.
Yeah, I used to I would, for every hour of audio, edit 2 hours worth. I mean, it was just a crazy amount of editing. You know how it is in the beginning, and you're editing out every and I used to edit out all the cuss words, and then we started to beep the cuss words, and then I just finally said, I am spending too much time on this. This is not how people actually talk. Part of what our show is that you are hearing friends talk around a kitchen table like you and your friends talk, and it's inauthentic to not have the curse words or some of that stuff. And so that was about 2.5, 3 years into it, and I took a lot of flack for it. And part of me still wonders if that was the right decision, because people would say, you know, I can't listen to the show in front of my kids or in the office anymore, and it just sucks, but I understand why you did it. But I just didn't feel like it was authentic. And so and I was lazy. I just didn't want to edit out all that stuff. And we've tried to tone it down so it is a little bit more, it's more like PG-13 than rated R. I mean, there was a phase last year where it was a little too rough, and then we started to reel it back in this year. But we're definitely I would not let anybody under the age of, 14, 15 listen. I mean, if they're 14 or 15, they're hearing way worse stuff at school. So
But here's the thing. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And I sometimes I've been toning down the launch pad, because the first show, it was cool. Like, you get on the mic, and the first
show you couldn't even air.
I couldn't even air that motherfucker. But I mean, episode 2 and above, I mean, it was fuck this, fuck that, fuck this. Hey, we're cool. This is really cool. Fuck that, fuck this. And then it gets to the point where it's like, really, why? Is it necessary? Like, I'll say it to make a point, but it's not necessary.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's also kind of cool to have that ability to say it if you want to. I mean, like, I like the option that you can say fuck. That's what's so cool about podcasts. And we're on internet radio, so I mean, they don't care. I mean, one way or another. I mean, they don't give a fuck either. I mean, that's what's the beauty behind the internet. And
well, if anybody has a problem with it, just fuck them in the neck.
Fuck them in the neck. That's right. That's right.
At the end of the day, I used to take minor criticism way more seriously. And at the end of the day, not that we get a ton of it, but I mean, I'm very open to valid criticism. But at the end of the day, it's our fucking show, and we're going to do what the fuck we want with it. If people have ideas about how to change it, and I think they're good, I'll totally take them into account. But, at some point, you just stop caring what other people think, and you just make the show you need to make, and that will attract who it needs to attract and who it's supposed to attract.
What I've found, and this has happened in my personal life over the last 2 or 3 years, is I've gone through therapy and tried to not be such a basket case. Just be you, and the world will adjust. It's if you're just doing the kind of show that you want to do with your friends, you attract your people. And we're not for everybody. And I see a lot of people, in a lot of these different groups, they recommend your shows, and then they'll say, I tried your show and it didn't. And then I want to get all petty. But you just have to sit there and go, you know what? You're not going to be for everybody. But the people that do get you and do get what you're doing, they really get you. And that's I think the important part. And that's the best part about doing this for our subscribers.
Sure.
The people that give us money understand exactly what we're doing. They support us. And this is just 4 busy podcasters taking an hour probably every month, I would say, out of their, it really ends up being about 2 to 3 hours total to do one of these shows, but it's worth it.
Yeah, there's if you just add up the Facebook chats. It's
but it's worth it
hours
because
of planning.
we just want to give back to the people who are helping us build our dreams. I mean, it's really cool.
So
that really is what it's all about. I mean, I think ultimately all of us would be blown away if we could actually. I mean, I love my career. I think I'm one of the lucky people that's I mean, I think all of us seem to like what we do. And I've never heard any of us complain about it. But of course, a dream would be to be like make so much money that I can actually do Liberty full time. That would be incredible. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. And I'm totally fine if it doesn't. But I don't know. Maybe it could. You know, the more people that love what we're doing, the more that becomes a real possibility.
But what I love about this is actually learning. Like I learn more from the guests than I could any book, because you're actually hearing the inflection in their voice, the stories they have to tell, the experiences, and what they know. Like I just get a thrill out of just learning from these people that I'm talking to and intermingling with. That is worth it in spades compared to any financial money or anything. I mean, just learning the ideas of liberty from these people that have probably read more than me, probably have more time to read than me. I mean, fuck, I'm cutting grass most of the time during the day. I don't have time to be fucking reading books and all these novels and tomes of Mises and
audiobooks, baby.
Well, I have done that, but like usually I put on podcasts and I listen.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to Roger and Chris
or that darn rock and roll music.
Damn them, damn those people. But like this is really what it's about. I mean, it's about learning, and I enjoy learning along with the audience. I think that's kind of the cool thing, because I have obviously shifted my belief system a lot since the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, I
used to say that minarchist word a lot back in the day.
I did, yeah. I was a minarchist, and now I've gone. I'm an self-proclaimed ANCAP now. So I mean, but it's cool. It's a cool learning experience, and it's cool to see how I've transitioned and what I believe. And I think we've all experienced the same thing. I mean, I'm sure we don't believe the same thing that when we started the shows that we've done from where we are now. I could say that we all probably feel differently about things. Maybe Roger's the only one's like, fuck it, I've been solid libertarian the entire time.
I've evolved a lot.
I mean, I quit as the chair of I didn't run for re-election for the Libertarian Party of Arkansas because I wanted to do a podcast. So I kind of, wanted to keep those separate, but yeah, I was already, full-on anarchist before I started the podcast. I've become, in my mind, less politically minded, obviously, with what I've been talking about on the show. Right. But that's about the only thing that's changed for me.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that changed the most is my doing a podcast has forced me to learn to talk to people like people. And whereas before, I don't think I was the best communicator of liberty in my real life. I did turn a lot of people over to the ideas, like Brian and Odie, who do the show with me now, both started through me. So, but that was more through like late night bar talk, and you can't reach everyone that way. But I think it's really learned me to be able to. I don't like a lot of times I interview guests that I really don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, but I'm not fighting them enough for some people's desire sometime. But that's not what I'm trying to do with my show. I'm trying to just talk to people like people, let them talk, let me talk. There's other shows we do, not only in the Pride, but on Libertarians in Living Rooms Drinking Liquor. I let more of my own views kind of out that way. But, to learn to approach a conversation in a non-combative way, that has been, I think, my biggest evolution over time. Because at first I kind of pictured the show, I'll just bring on libertarians and we'll agree on everything. And then I realized over time, like, a lot of this shit, even with people I generally agree with, a lot of the intricacies can be complicated. And, it's impossible to agree with everyone. I mean, it just is at the end of the day. But, you don't need to fight everyone you disagree with. You can just have a conversation. And that's probably the biggest skill I've developed over time, to the point that some people think I'm like, agreeing with people just by not fighting them, which I'm often not. It's just that the point of my interviews is not to tell you what I believe. It's to really get their point across and have hopefully an interesting conversation that gets some contrarian points of view across and challenges what they're saying. But that's not the goal. Is not to have a fight. The goal is to have a conversation. That's something that I think all libertarians and anybody that wants to engage in political conversation and win people over in one way or another really needs to learn, because because if you approach it like combat, it's going to be combat. And in combat, there's a winner and a loser. Well, you don't want a winner and a loser in the situation where you're trying to win people over. You want to both be winners. You want to both leave like you've learned something, like you've changed your minds about something, or you're at least open-minded to something. So if you approach it that way, like we're both going to leave this thing winners. We might not agree on everything, but we'll both learn something. We'll both get something out of it. Much better approach as far as I'm concerned.
You're right.
Well, I disagree.
Well, hold on. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from like things I don't agree with our guests on the show on the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. They're things that I am opposed to, but I understand their point of view. I'm not saying that I agree or I think they're stupid. I still think they're stupid, but I understand why they came to those conclusions. So it's learning the human behavior of why maybe they feel that way. And I maybe it's right or wrong, but it's still a learning process. And I still think it's important for us to kind of maybe see their points of view and then use that as a way to research later and then attack their fucking flawed outlook.
I think for me, I'm less certain than Roger about a lot, but I think I have become less certain over the course of my show, where I started from more of a stance where this is what I believe, this is what all libertarians believe, and this is what you should believe. And over time, I've become less certain I've become almost more of a reporter and an observer. And I've become overwhelmed with the amount of things that I don't know and that I think the libertarian movement doesn't know and doesn't grapple with. And I think that's one differentiator between our show and anybody else, is that what we're really trying to do is examine all the questions and try and find an answer, but accept at the end of the day, the answer is much more nuanced and tough than, than I would have thought it was 5 years ago. And I don't know that is the right or wrong way. Again, self-doubt. But I find myself wanting to learn more from people and examine more than try and explain, so I don't know if I'm making sense, but for me, I've lost a lot of certainty. It's not a loss of philosophy, because the more I interact with the Leviathan, the more that I talk to people, the more that I interview people who are affected by policy, I become more and more certain that government is the problem, and that government that the state in and of itself is an evil institution and an uncontrollable beast. But the way to get to where a destination like Roger outlines a lot, and Roger's very certain of, I don't know that I have the answer to how to get to that path. And that's sort of what our show is about, is we're trying to find hack through the weeds and move backwards and find the answer. And so I don't know if that has helped or hurt us, because I think if I were more certain and I were more like a Rush Limbaugh and more blustery, then I think people would follow that a little more blindly. But that's also kind of the people that I don't want around me. I don't want, as listeners, the people just blindly accepting whatever Greg, Kat, Harry, and I say. I want honest questioners who are trying to figure out all this stuff with us. And I love getting to sit down, and it's forced me to do homework. It's forced me to learn, because I know that I've got to have some sort of answer, and I take the responsibility as a thought leader very seriously. Greg does too. I mean, we each spend countless hours a day constantly poring over news and an opinion from a variety of places to try and give a big picture view from all sides on an issue, and then say, here's the impact for libertarians, here's how we should think about it. And then discuss amongst ourselves. So I think that forcing me to do homework and forcing me to ask different and new questions has been my favorite part of doing the podcast.
Well, that was one of the reasons I started my show, is because I wanted to learn more about libertarianism, and I knew the way to force myself to do it would be to try to explain things that I didn't understand to other people. So that's why I started my podcast, and that's why I do it in the format that I do, because it forces me to dig in to all of these very detailed topics and try to find the best, most libertarian answer to it. And you mentioned, more nuance and whatnot. I don't see any nuance in it. If somebody wants to steal from me or somebody wants to initiate force on me, then fuck them. There is no nuance to that. As far as I'm concerned, that person is evil. That person has, no claim to my rights, to my life, to my property. So there's no nuance.
But Roger, weren't you that person at one point in your life?
I was, and
so were you evil? I mean,
yeah,
you were
absolutely.
Maybe had a bad political philosophy, but I think
yes,
judging the entirety of the person as evil isn't necessarily the same thing as your current ideas are evil.
I disagree. I disagree. I was absolutely evil.
So you were evil and became non-evil.
Absolutely. The beliefs that I had that it was okay for me to steal money for my pet project was an evil idea. And if that means that I was an evil person, then absolutely, I was an evil person. No question about it. Now, does that mean that there's no hope for people who are statists? No, of course not. I mean, all of us were statists at one point. I mean, none of us came out of the vagina believing in libertarianism. And
that's true. Yeah.
So,
well, Ron Paul believes that we come out of he actually said this in my interview with Ron Paul, episode 200 on my show, which is still, even though I only had 15 minutes with him, still one of obviously my hallmark moments, just because it's Ron fucking Paul.
Right.
He said he thinks we're all born libertarians in the sense that we're born free. We're born, as children searching the world and being free. And it's only the way our society has progressed that we've come to a point in society in our belief system that we teach people and raise them all as statists, and then we only now later have to work out of it. Whereas we're not necessarily born.
I completely disagree. I mean, we don't come out of the womb.
I should have you two of you on to debate.
Yeah, we don't come out of the womb understanding property rights. And one of the first arguments that kids have is when one kid steals another kid's toy, and then they start hitting each other over it. I mean, that's obviously not libertarian. So I have to disagree with Ron, who I respect a great deal on that one.
Well, I might have oversimplified his.
I love that.
I got to go back.
I love that
he was being like a very pure, he was using a very pure example.
It's a very general,
but,
we're born free kind of.
But see, here's where Preacher Paxton.
Not like we're born knowing Rothbard,
Preacher Paxton. I would love to have Preacher Paxton's certainty, but I just, Ron Paul is saying a lot of what. If you take the instance of you take my stuff and I hit you, there's an inherent realization of property rights that this is mine and it is not yours. That child just doesn't have an instinct in conflict resolution yet.
But the other child doesn't have a concept of property rights apparently, because he's taking his property.
Right, but that's a more complex conversation. That's a much more skilled argument.
But is the child evil, or is the child just a child?
No, the child just doesn't have an understanding, is all I was saying about that. And that's why I think that Ron Paul's wrong. Now, obviously, these are things that we want to teach our children. We want to teach our children, don't hit, don't take my stuff. And those are the basics of libertarianism. And that's about as simple as it gets.
And I agree with Roger on this. But hold on. One thing you guys are bringing up a great point, and I thought it was fantastic, is you guys are saying that I wanted to learn more about libertarianism, and that's why I'm doing the show or your shows. And I agree. It's you have to challenge yourself. Like, I had a pet project that I was working on doing is actually simplifying Man, Economy, and State by my fucking hero, Murray Rothbard. But and simplifying it into YouTube videos. And actually, in my mind, I think that is what route we should be going as entertainers and podcasters and thought leaders of this movement, and utilizing, dumbing down ideas. Not saying that their ideas are bad or anything like that, or not well explained, but in nuggets of information where people can absorb it. Because I don't think people have the attention span to read an economics book anymore. I just don't think it's in our culture to do that. So what I think we should be doing as entertainers and podcasters, and I love that thought leader. Thank Chris. I love that term. That's what we should be focused in, is trying to spread that message of liberty and educating people, either through comedy, through swear words. I don't care how we do it, but that is what we need to be doing, is educating these people. And there's a lot of people who listen to all of our shows who are probably not very savvy on economics.
Well,
and to me,
yeah.
But to me, economics is a cornerstone of liberty, in my opinion. I mean, some people might disagree with me on that, but I take a very economic approach to libertarianism with property rights and those things, and markets and things along those lines. And that's what I find important. And some people might want to focus in on, is this a crime or should they do time? John Odermatt, I love that segment. That's the best game show ever. But that's what I'm getting.
And it is a game show.
It is a great game show. But John does a great job. But I think that's what we should be doing as leaders of this movement should be, really talking to these people and telling them this is why this idea is really stupid. This is why minimum wage should go away. This is why price gouging is great. And these are things that the lefties, and I'm not going to say just lefties, but this is why the normal American believes these things, because they've been brainwashed, and we need to unbrainwash them through our shows.
Yep, I can't agree more, but I think we're going to have to wrap up because I've got a family to get back to.
I think it's time. But what's great is that we can plan to do an hour or so show, and we can look at the clock and realize, man, we've just been going forever because it's good conversation with this crew, and that's why I think, despite the fact that we don't always see eye to eye on 100% of things 100% of the time, I think we all see eye to eye on our overall mission, and that's why we are a fucking league, motherfuckers.
That's right.
And that's why we are a League of Liberty, and I love this. I love this shit. I love the agreements. I love the disagreements. I love all of our different approaches to everything. So I'm happy to continue to come together at least once a month or so, and this will always be available to anyone who supports any one of our shows. Now, I don't know if there's anybody out there. There's got to be a few that support more than one, and there's definitely, I don't know if there's anyone that supports all four. We were talking about this over the show. That would surprise me because that would be crazy. That would be amazing. Also, we need to come up with some kind of extra super mega prize for anyone that supports all four of our shows, though. I don't know what yet. Maybe an extra 10 minutes we do sometimes. I don't know. We'll talk about it off air,
you get the tape that Roger makes.
You get the unedited.
When he submits to Backroom Casting Couch, you can't just hire a pretty face.
Right. So we need a sign
You get
off.
Roger's cursing outtakes, and you get Johnny. That's it. Whoever subscribes to all four can have the all the segments that we've all removed from and won't allow to air.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know if you guys can agree to this right now, but I can.
Nobody can take my no.
We'll talk about it off air.
But we need a sign off though. We need to come up with a sign off.
I was just gonna say we do. We didn't talk about this. Any ideas? In our Pride shows, we just the shows just fucking end.
Well, that's because you have no imagination.
We have 3 fucking sign-offs on 3 fucking shows right now. What do you want from us?
Right. Well, we'll figure something out and we'll have it ready for the next episode.
I agree. Let's work on
Or
this.
we can just come up with something right now. We're
okay.
smart.
What about? So what would superheroes say?
Live long
No,
that's not it. Hold on. That's two. That one's been done already.
Right.
How about launching ideas? And no, that wouldn't work either.
Keep striking.
We'll do better next time.
Whoops.
No, Chris.
How about we'll keep it simple for now? How about liberty? Fuck yeah.
I like it.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we can grow on. We'll take suggestions from all the members of all of our private groups.
There you go.
How about that?
There you go. Why don't we do it?
But until then, what do you guys say? 3, 2, 1.
Liberty! Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Maybe we need to try it again.
One more time.
I will not edit this out because I want everyone to hear it because it was fun. I'll do a real 3, 2, 1. Except just do the one in your head. 3, 2, Liberty!
Fuck yeah. That's pitiful.
All right, we're never going to get it down.
No.
But I think that was a good way to end anyway. So peace.